Welcome everyone. I'm Sam Maggi and tonight's class is all about eggs. We're featuring our own Gwendolyn's eggs tonight, available in all our markets. We raise our laying hens right here in the Willamette Valley, just minutes away from our markets. These eggs are organic, free range, and they're delicious. If you have questions as we go along tonight, just type them into the Q&A box. Select recipes for this class are available on our Basics Market website. Let's get started. These eggs are delicious because they're fresh, and there is a way to test an egg for freshness, and this is kind of a fun little exercise. So I have 2 eggs here. So a fresh egg will sink to the bottom of a container of water and lay flat. And that's because as soon as an egg is laid from the chicken, it starts to shrink the inside of the egg, and then you get an air pocket at the top of the egg. And so an older egg will continue to shrink. And you can see here, this older egg is standing up straight in the water. So that means this egg's a little older. And then here's the fresher egg, and it's just laying in there flat. So that's one way to test an egg. And why would you want to know if an egg is older or fresher? Well, there's properties to both of these. And an older egg is better for hard boiling. It's easier to peel. And so that's really neat, because if you have some eggs that have been sitting around a while, you might want to hard boil them, and that will preserve them a bit. So that's a good time to hard boil an egg, and then get some fresh eggs. For other applications like poached eggs, you really want the freshest egg you can get. So come into a Basics Market and get some of these Gwendolyn's eggs that are really nice and fresh. And what happens with the fresh egg is the structure of the yolk and the white is just tighter, and it will hold together better for poaching. So tonight, it's an Eggs 101 kind of class we're looking at. So I have really been enjoying working with the Gwendolyn's eggs, and they are just beautiful eggs. You can see they come in all sorts of colors, freckled and green and different shades of brown. Just the best eggs, you know. So we're going to be looking at some basic recipes tonight, and then we'll probably do more egg related classes as we move into the future. But tonight I just wanted to present a few recipes which are available on our website, as I mentioned earlier. So we're going to do some hard-boiled eggs first. And so hard boiling an egg is very simple, and again, a great way to use older eggs. But there is some technique involved. You have to know how to boil water. And so let's demonstrate boiling water. No, I yoke. I'm sorry. I promised myself I'm not going to do too many egg jokes, but it's irresistible. Okay, so there are 2 methods, and on our instruction sheet for hard cooking eggs, we have 2 methods, but I do prefer one, and that method is to go ahead and put the eggs into your pot that you're using first, and just put them into an empty pot, okay? And then cover the eggs with water. So you just want to cover the eggs. Get plenty, you know, at least an inch or 2 of water above them. And then bring that to a good boil. And then you turn the heat off, or take the pot off the heat and cover it. Cover the pot. And so and then you just let it sit for 10 minutes. Take the eggs out of the hot water bath and put them in some ice water, or put them in a sink under cold running water to cool as quickly as possible. And as it cools, the membrane will come off of the shell, and that's how you get an egg that's easier to peel. Alternatively, you can boil water and then add the eggs. Now, what's going to happen there, though, is the outside of the egg is going to cook faster than the inside. So 10 minutes for a hard-boiled egg. And I'm going to show you what an overcooked egg looks like and what a 10-minute egg. So here's the 10-minute egg. And to peel, I just sort of crack eggs. So hard-boiled eggs have so many great applications, right? You can make deviled eggs, you can make egg salad. The egg comes in a great container, the shell already, and eggs are just very good for you. They actually contain a little bit of every nutrient that humans need. We've been eating eggs since prehistoric times. I mean, obviously they were easy easy to gather, right? Once you found out where a nest is or something, probably easier than getting some of the creatures that have like teeth and stuff like that. They're an excellent source of protein. They have all your amino acids, vitamin B12, just incredible, good for your brain health. And now the cholesterol debate sort of been settled in that eggs actually have good cholesterol. So they help with our good cholesterol, which fights bad cholesterol. So you don't have to worry about cholesterol. And actually you want to eat the yolk because that's where most of the vitamins are in the egg. I think we have a question, yes.
Russell, one of your fans, loved your yolks. Would like to know how long should the eggs cool before attempting to peel?
Oh, that's a good question. So the question is, how long should you let the eggs cool before you peel them? Really just once you can touch them and handle them without burning yourself, that's fine. I mean, 5 minutes is a good rule. And I think that's what we wrote into our deal, like 5 minutes in the ice bath or under cold running water. But really, yeah, as soon as you can handle them at any time after 5 minutes, you can go ahead and peel them. I am going, let's see, oh, I can use this. So let's see what we've got here. So this is a 10-minute egg. And you can see the yolk is really nice and set up. And we don't have any discoloration, right? So if an egg is overcooked, so I cooked these eggs for quite some time. So what we should find here is the sulfur is going to cause a blue ring. And then when that happens, that's also when you get the unpleasant smell that is sometimes associated with hard-boiled eggs, and that's actually when the egg is overcooked. So just a little note about cooking, and this one peeled really nice though, right? A note about cooking eggs in general, it's all about low constant temperature. You want to keep the temperature fairly low. You know, in any of these applications, the temperatures aren't real high, and you want to keep an eye on the timing because the eggs are going to set up, and when you have too high of a temperature or it cooks for too long, that's where you get the rubbery egg. So you can see here, the color is, you have that greenish ring, and that's where the sulfur came out of the egg. And this egg also, the texture is not great. I ate one of these for you. So I can tell you how bad it was. But you know, the texture is not nice, it's dry, and you can see the color is really quite different. Yes, another question.
Eileen wants to know, must you get the eggs to room temperature?
All right, so we have a question about, can you bring the eggs to room temperature, or can you just put them cold into the water? You can pull them out of the fridge and put them in your pot, and then you're covering with cold water, so they're going to be cool anyway. Now, in general, eggs at room temperature are a good way to go. We talked about it a little bit in our cake class. There was a question about, bringing the eggs out beforehand. And so when you're doing baking, yeah, half an hour before, it's safe to bring the eggs out, let them adjust to room temperature. And what that really is doing is just allowing the yolk and the white to really mix with your other ingredients in baking. And it allows for everything to happen just more evenly. It's not a bad idea when you're cooking omelets and poaching eggs and things like that to let them come to room temperature, just because it will adjust to the temperature of whatever your cooking utensils are quicker. So that's a great question. Thank you. Another question, yes.
Someone wants to know, is the 10-minute boiling time also applied to jumbo eggs?
So yes, any egg, and what's neat about and interesting about eggs is the white cooks quicker than the yolk. So that's why we have some control over where the yolk is, and that's what I want to show you is a soft boiled egg. So this is a 6-minute egg. Now, and again, just to note, it's either 10 minutes boiling or 10 minutes not boiling, but covered and hot off the boil. And that's my personal preferred method. You just get the same result every time, and you don't have to worry about it overcooking. So off the heat, after it's come to a boil, cover, take it off the heat and let it sit for 10 minutes. All right, and this is a 6-minute egg, and I'm going to pop into this one. Yes, we have another question.
How long will your boiled egg last in the fridge? For longer?
Boiled, yeah, the question is, how long will a hard-boiled egg last in the refrigerator? And you have 7 days on a hard-boiled egg. So here's a soft-boiled egg. Now, I love soft-boiled eggs for, I do this a lot for like on top of a ramen or a fried rice dish, things like that. It's really nice. Let's see if I can peel it without breaking the yolk. So this is the soft-boiled egg. There he is. And you can see this egg has the beautiful runny yolk. So when you're having a nice bowl of ramen or something like that, this is a really nice consistency. Also, this reminds me of my grandfather. Every morning he had one of these egg cups, right? And he would have his soft boiled egg. So this is a 6-minute egg. On the recipes, we have a really neat like picture with the hard-boiled eggs, and it shows you like 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes, 8 minutes, and all the different stages. So you can kind of stop the boiling at wherever you prefer, but you put it in the egg cup, right? And then you crack around the top, and then you can eat the egg out just like pudding or something like that. But you can see that that's is one of my favorite ways to have an egg. Just it's really beautiful, and you can see how the yolk cooks at such a different rate than the white. Another way to tell a really quality egg, like our Gwendolyn's eggs here, good quality fresh eggs, is the white is actually, there's 2 layers to the white. So there's the central, the thicker white, and then the outer thinner white. And in lower grade eggs, those will be mixed together and you can't differentiate between them. In a good quality egg, there is a difference there. And you can actually, with a sieve, you could strain off that outer white if you want just less white on the egg, which can come in handy for some applications like poaching, for example. And with that being said, let's look at some poaching. So hard-boiled eggs, and soft-boiled eggs, so 10 minutes, 6 minutes, those are good rules. You can either let it just sit in the water, or you can let it boil, low boil for those time frames, okay? and then 5 minutes in an ice bath or running cold water running over it. So poached eggs is another really simple application. And again, we're using boiling water, and here we just want to bring the water to a little simmer, just to a boil. It's about 180 degrees is if you're using a thermometer, but it's just to where it starts to bubble. If it's going too much, it's going to overcook the egg right away, right? So our water level, you want it pretty deep. I'm using a skillet here, and the skillet method is good for, it's good if you want to do several eggs at once. And so this is like what restaurants will often do, because they'll have a lot of order for eggs Benedict or something like that. And so you can do a bunch of eggs at one time. And that's with a wider pot. But you want to make sure to really get that water level up there, okay? And then to your water, you add 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. And some people add a little bit of salt. I prefer not to add salt to my poaching liquid. The idea behind adding the salt is that it will kind of buoy the egg up a little bit. The salt water is a little less likely for the egg to sink to the bottom of the pot or pan. But at the same time, salt tends to break up the molecular structure of the egg, so it's harder for it to come together. Now, the vinegar, on the other hand, helps the egg come together. So that's why the vinegar is in there. So, and another method, so if I'm doing many eggs at once, I just like to drop them in there gently. But if I am just doing a single egg, I might use the method of swirling the water. And a lot of people like to give the water a little swirl to get the egg the egg white to come and envelop the egg yolk. And that's sort of the idea, right? You want the white to come around the yolk. So let's see what we got. So it's nice to have anytime working with eggs, you want to crack your egg into another bowl. In this way, you're not going to get any shell into your dish. When you crack an egg, it's good to crack it onto a flat surface. You don't want to crack it on the edge of a bowl or something like that, because shards of the egg can go into the bowl, or it can go into the egg itself. So a flat surface, just do a crack, and then open the egg up into our bowl. And that one, see, I already broke one with the shell. And I added 1 tablespoon of vinegar to this. All right, so there we go. This one I did not break. So I've got a nice egg here, and I've got a little bit of a simmer, right? And so I'll go ahead and give this a bit of a, well, actually this one I'm going to go flat. I have another water here that I'm going to poach 2 eggs, and I'll do 1 swirl. With this one, I'll demonstrate the flat method. So with this, I'm just going to go ahead and gently drop my egg into my water bath. And then I'm using a slotted spoon, and I'm going to just tease the white over the yolk. And you will get some of that outer white will come off, and you'll get a few little pieces around, but don't worry about that. It's not really a big deal. You'll get your majority of the egg is going to stay together. And then I'm just going to grab a paper towel. it's nice to have some paper towels to drop your egg onto. So a paper towel, ideally with a plate under it. And you can actually poach eggs and then save them for up to 5 days in the refrigerator. So what you can do, like say you're having a brunch or something like that coming up, you can poach a bunch of eggs, drain them on a paper towel, and then you can pack them in cold water and put them in some sort of bowl or something covered in cold water or something with a lid, and you can keep them in the refrigerator up to 5 days. And then when you're ready to eat them, you just put them in a bowl or something of hot water. It doesn't have to be simmering or boiling or anything, just like hot water, like 140 degrees. And that will bring it back to temperature, eating temperature, and they're good to go. So cold water in the fridge, and you can have as many pre-done poached eggs as you like. And again, that's a little bit of a restaurant trick. And so here I could have done, you could see how I simply just dropped that in. So I could have done 6 eggs in this size skillet I have here comfortably. And the trick to that though is you'd want to have them all in little bowls or something ready to go and then drop them at the same time. Now let's do a swirl real quick. So here's the swirly guy. So another way to poach an egg is in a deeper pot like this. And this is handy if you're just poaching a couple or 1 egg at a time. It's not a terrible idea to have a lot of water because the likelihood of that egg falling and sticking to the bottom is much less, okay? And again, once again, I have 1 tablespoon of white vinegar, and I'm going to add that to my water. I will attempt to crack an egg. Again, flat surface, crack and open. So another way to tell a really good fresh egg is if the cloudier the white is, the fresher the egg. So the older an egg gets, the more clear the white becomes. Okay, so this is, you can see it's boiling a little hard. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit. And with this one, let's go ahead and try the swirl and see if that makes any difference. So again, if you're doing the swirl, it's nice to have a deep pot. And you just you're creating a little tornado. And then the idea is that once the egg hits, it's going to kind of swirl around the yolk as the nucleus, and then you'll have a more rounded shape. And to, I don't know, I don't really notice a whole lot of difference, but it's fun, and it's kind of cool. I actually, personally, I have the best results just dropping them into the skillet and being really gentle and just gently teasing the white back up around the yolk. And that's where I've had the best success, but all this stuff you have to try out yourself and see what works for you. The slotted spoon is an excellent tool. Here, you could also use like some sort of webbed spatula type deal. So you can, and again, you can cook this to however you like, anywhere from 2 minutes to 3.5, 4 minutes, depending on where you want your yolk. The whites are going to cook fairly quickly. The whites get done quickly. I like kind of a loose yolk on my poached egg. Poached eggs are great, again, over rice, polenta. I mean, there's so many eggs dishes, just limitless, really, and from all over the world. One of my favorites is polenta with eggs. So good. And then you can put, a little